You are Locked On Celtics POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, I do think it is fair to say right now with the Celtics, what in the bleepity bleep on a Friday night back at home after a 3-1 homes or road trip was that? Celtics, awful fourth quarter, lose at home to the Sacramento Kings, who are hot. They've won 6 in a row, but come on. What a fourth quarter for the Celtics. 114-97 the final Friday night. You are right where you need to be. You are locked on with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college basketball play-by-play announcer. Danny Ainge growing up, one of my favorite Celtics, wore number 44, and I had one of his practice jerseys. Yeah, it was a T-shirt practice jersey, but I always loved it. It wasn't his, it was mine, but it was a Danny Ainge practice jersey. Again, you're right where you need to be with our Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We do want to hear from you. And on our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to talk about Domantas Sabonis having, I don't want to call it a career night, but he had maybe the best performance against the Celtics this season from an opposing player. Agree or disagree, and if you disagree, give me the guy, because Sabonis was outstanding. And he may have had the back-breaking three in that fourth quarter for the Kings. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button. Join the Celtics conversation. 3-1 road trip, you come home to that and lose to the Kings. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics loss against Sacramento. You can follow us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. You can also give me a follow on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Lennox on Hoops. This episode of the Locked On Celtics podcast brought to you by the brand new newsletter. Yes, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, and one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. So the Kings have now won 6 in a row. Played without De'Aaron Fox, dealing with a right glute contusion. That was the description on the injury report. So no De'Aaron Fox. Didn't matter. Did not matter on this particular night. Again, if you're with us, join us. Hit the comment button on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. We do want to hear from you. Celtics, first quarter, down 34-27 after one. And Jaylen Brown had 10 early on, and I'm thinking to myself, Jaylen Brown might be in for a special night. Okay night. Okay night that came in a loss. Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, 8 apiece in that first quarter for the Kings. Sabonis also had 10 rebounds. That was a preview of what was to come for Sabonis. Couldn't keep him off the glass. Couldn't keep him off the glass at all. Sacramento. Interesting. And I had this question posed to me recently. Do college basketball for Quinnipiac University, and asked recently, how can a team go so cold from one quarter to another quarter, or from one half of basketball to a second half of basketball? Kings were outstanding, knocking down 8 threes in that first quarter. They went cold from there, but then got cold, red hot again when it counted in the fourth quarter. Now, the Celtics were down again, 34-27 after one. The Celtics, 28-19 advantage. Held the Kings to 19 points in that second quarter and had a 2-point advantage coming out of the locker room after the half. The Kings, again, went ice cold. Knocked down 8 threes in the first quarter, 1 of 12 from behind the three-point line in that second quarter. Peyton Pritchard. Where's the Celtics bench right now? Where is it? Pritchard had 6 points in the second, 3 of 6 from the field, but his 3 misses from behind the three-point arc. Sabonis did not score in that second quarter for the Kings, but he had 8 and 16 rebounds at halftime. Monk had 14. Jaylen Brown, KP, 13 apiece in that first half for the Celtics. Now, the Kings were +2 for the third quarter. Game tied at the start of the fourth quarter. I had it on the radio side with Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell, 98.5 the Sports Hub at the start of the fourth quarter. Devin Carter. Going to give you a little Devin Carter right here. Rookie for the Kings. Played in the Northeast. You know the name. He played at Providence. Had a terrific career at Providence. My best bud, my best friend, loves Devin Carter. We were talking about him this time last year, about the team that ends up with Devin Carter. they're going to be happy because this guy scraps. He goes after it. Now he's had injuries. He's played in the G League, and now at the NBA level with the Kings, a team that's won 6 in a row. Carter knocked down a couple of threes early on in the fourth quarter, and that was it. I don't know what three in that fourth quarter for Sacramento was the backbreaker. You can point at it and look at a lot of them. But DeRozan knocked down a couple of threes. Keegan Murray knocked down 3 threes in the fourth quarter. And Carter opened up with a couple of threes in the opening 2 minutes of that fourth quarter to extend the lead. Broke the tie, and they went from there. Kings just went from there. Largest lead in that fourth quarter, 19. Win it again, 114-97. The Celtics did not hit 30 points in a quarter in any of the 4 quarters against Sacramento. And Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell talked about it. The Kings aren't a defensive juggernaut. But for some reason, against the Celtics Friday night at TD Garden, with the Celtics coming off a 3-1 road trip, only loss against the OKC Thunder, the Celtics were 1 of 7 on threes in the fourth quarter and 6 of 17 overall. 17 shots in the fourth quarter. And the turnovers were a problem for the Celtics. 15 turnovers total. 8 for Jayson Tatum. 5 of those turnovers for Tatum in the third quarter. And again, you're going to the fourth quarter tied up. I don't know what was that? That's the headline. Home woes for the Celtics? All of a sudden, the Celtics aren't a dominating team at home. You sort of got run out of the gym there. And I had it on NBC Sports Boston in the fourth quarter, late stages. And Jrue Carter and Brian Scalabrine. What are some of these guys still doing on the floor? What were they doing on the floor? Doug Christie said, hey, we're going to take care of business here. They were still hoisting up threes in the final couple of minutes. They didn't care. Kings did not care. They come away with the victory. Again, let's hit it. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Rain. There's something wrong with this team. Right now, it seems like there is. It does, especially at home. Now, there's kind of a standing joke, tongue-in-cheek, NBA teams coming off a road trip, take the visiting team and the points in that first game back at home. Shouldn't have been that way for the Celtics. Mike checking in. The only one happy with the Celtics losing this game is Brandon Jennings. Here come the worst takes of all time Sunday from everyone online. Yeah, there are a lot of bad takes out there, Mike, and you got street cred here on the Locked On Celtics postcast. You're one of our everydayers, and we tip our cap to you. Absolutely. But some of the stuff online, it's right there. It's there. We always say there's truth in joking. There's truth in what you want to say about the Celtics right now. I mean, right now, top seed in the East, I don't want to hear about it. Cleveland's having a special regular season to this point. I don't want to hear about the top seed in the East right now. It's sort of like when you're talking, well, is this a team, a playoff team? Is their record 500 or better? No, it's below 500. I don't consider them a playoff team, even if they're a game under 500. And the Kings with the win, 500 team in the Western Conference. Sean, they were up 9, fell apart. When was the last time the Celtics had a 6-game win streak? It's been a while. It's been a while for the Celtics. What, their longest win streak this season? 7 straight, right? Far from that. Far from that. We've talked about it on occasion. More and more, it's looking like the Celtics. Hey, you opened the team with the team that won the NBA title last June. You brought just about everybody back. Sean, longest win streaks for the Celtics this season. Here we go. Season high 7-game win streak. They still haven't lost 2 in a row. 11 losses on the season. Broadcaster observation 1 coming up in segment number 2. They've won 7 in a row. They've won 4 in a row at one point. They had 3-game win streaks. That's the Celtics. But it's been a while since you want to feel good about the Celtics. And right now, again, we've discussed it minimally, but the Celtics need to add. Right now, you're looking like you need to add before the trade deadline, at the trade deadline, whenever you want. Good comment so far. Mike checking back in. I know Scal gave the Kings credit, and they look like a revived team, so I understand, but this was the worst loss of the season. Not a lot to be positive about right now. Yeah, Mike, I agree. And again, as you said in your first comment of the night, there's going to be a lot of online between now and Sunday night when they play host to the Pelicans. There's going to be a lot that's said online right here on the Locked On Celtics postcast. Your comments, keep them coming right here on the comments section as well. But a tough one. You're tied. You're tied after 3 quarters against the Sacramento Kings. You had time off since the win in Denver a couple of nights ago. I don't know what the excuse is. Has there been a better game in terms of points and rebounds and production than Domantas Sabonis? I'd like to hear from you. Hit the comment button. I can't think of it right now. I can get into some guys who have had good games against the Celtics, but Sabonis, are you kidding me? You're a championship caliber team. You won the NBA title last June, and you let somebody come into your gym and go for 23 points and 28 rebounds. Drew Carter was bringing up, and I love Sabonis. I loved him when he was with the Pacers. He's a terrific player, but 23 and 28, he's had 20 games before. I don't know how many he's had in his career, but 28 rebounds, 8 on the offensive end. Drew Carter is bringing up Ben Wallace. Last time an opposing player at home against the Celtics. He was bringing up Ben Wallace. You're going back, and then he was bringing up Moses Malone. 28 rebounds for an opposing player at home against the Celtics. We got to be better on the boards. We got to look at tape. That comes down to a certain word. It comes down to pride. At some point in the timeout or at halftime, get a body on Sabonis. We've got to put 2 bodies on Sabonis. I don't know if his 3, I think Monk missed a 3 in that fourth quarter. Offensive rebound, Sabonis hit a 3. At that point in time, just like, nah, it's not happening. It's not happening tonight. Wasn't turning the TV off, but the Celtics outscored 38-21 in the fourth quarter. Went to the fourth tied. Devin Carter, again, big part of it early on in that fourth quarter. They knocked down 8 threes in the fourth quarter. This is part of numbers of the night, but the numbers tell the story. They knocked down 18 threes total. And they did all their damage in the first quarter and the second quarter, or fourth quarter, rather, in go time. Fourth quarter, light turned on for the Kings, and you could turn the light out on the Celtics. Is Sabonis best performance against the Celtics this season? I dare say it is. Let me know what you think. Again, hit the comment button if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. More on Sabonis, more on the Celtics, and the fourth quarter coming up in segment number 2. Glad you're with us. Friday night, Locked On Celtics postcast, talking about a 17-point loss at home. Yikes. And our Locked On Celtics. Oop, hit the wrong button. Didn't want to hit that button. Wanted to hit this button. Production crew is just fired. Locked On Celtics postcast, glad you're with us. Tip of the cap to our everydayers and welcome into our first-timers as well. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by TurboTax. This is a message from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Now, are you tired of the endless waiting, wandering, and worrying about your taxes? Well, now that can be a thing of the past. You see, taxes don't need to be complicated or stressful. TurboTax is here to change the game by matching you a TurboTax expert who can get to work for you on your return right away. No more waiting for answers. No more wondering if you're missing out on your deductions. Whether you've got one form or 20, TurboTax experts are able to give you your taxes their undivided attention while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on what really matters. You won't have to lift a finger, but you'll get peace of mind knowing that your taxes are being handled by the pros. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head over to TurboTax.com today. Again, that's TurboTax.com, and get matched with your expert who's ready to take your taxes off your plate so you can focus on your day. Only available where TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guaranteed. Celtics with a tough one. Celtics with a tough one at home against the Sacramento Kings. I give the Kings credit. Hey, they took it on the chin when they made the coaching change. Doug Christie is an NBA head coach. That's an interesting name for me. Had a good career in the NBA. But I thought about it earlier tonight. There was video and there were stories about Doug Christie. I believe it was his fiance, then his wife at one point, where he had to check in with her and always know where he was. I mean, this was before the apps where you could know where people were at any minute of any given day. But Doug Christie, hey, 6 in a row. Again, they took it on the chin for making the coaching change. Rightfully so with how they handled the move. But all of a sudden, a wake-up call to what is a talented NBA team. Again, DeMar DeRozan is there. DeRozan played 40-plus minutes. He was the only one to get to 40. But he was 9 of 26. Wow, he took that many shots. He knocked down a couple of threes. And DeRozan, 24 points, 9 assists, a block, and a steal. And he's still a terrific player. But there are pieces around, and there are pieces for this team. And again, Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles to a certain degree. I mean, these aren't superstars, but these are good quality role players. And Devin Carter is going to give them a lot. Played almost 18 minutes, 500 or 50% from the field, 4 of 8 overall, knocked down 3 threes, including 2 early on in the fourth quarter. But let's get into the Celtics here a little bit. Mentioned Brown, good first quarter, ends up with a team high 28. Took 19 shots. He was 9 of 11 at the line. So he got to the line. The Celtics 22 free throws to 9 for Sacramento. All of a sudden, teams are out shooting the Celtics on the three-point line. 18 makes for the Kings, just 11 for the Celtics, and they were well below their season average with 41 attempts. They got into the bonus early in the fourth quarter. Thought maybe with that, they could creep back into the game. Did not happen. So 28 for Brown. Double-double, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists for Jayson Tatum. Give you a number of the night for Tatum with a streak coming to an end on Friday night and the loss. Again, 15 and 12. KP, Kristaps Porzingis, 22 and 10. Second double in recent games. He had a couple of blocks, 7 blocks total for the Celtics. But I want to get into the fourth quarter here. And I'd really like to go back to the Denver game, but I'm not going to do that because I think it was for a full half where the Celtics had 3 of their starters not scoring. But let's look at the fourth quarter for a moment here. Brown had 12 in the fourth. Jrue Holiday did not take a shot in the fourth quarter and did not score. Derrick White, 0 for 3 on the three-point line, did not score in the fourth quarter. Jayson Tatum, not his night, okay. But Jayson Tatum doesn't take a single shot from the field in the fourth quarter. Tatum, White, Holiday did not score in the fourth quarter. And combined for 3 shots. For 3 shots total. Celtics went 16 of 17. And the turnover, brutal in that third quarter. 15 total turnovers, 2 in the fourth quarter. So they took better care of the basketball. But it didn't change anything overall for the Celtics. 3 of your starters, 3 total shots in the fourth quarter. 3 of them did not score a single point. Mike checking in again. Possibly case of championship hangover. Is this a mental aspect where they feel like it's finals or bust and they will turn it on when the playoffs start? Inconsistency has been surprising. Yes. And you can't turn it on. You can't expect to turn it on in the playoffs. Because you could easily, maybe it's not a first-round exit. Conference, getting back to the finals, that's the goal. Defending your NBA championship, that's the goal. And right now, I mean, heck, it was the it was the Celtics, and everyone else has to figure out how to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. Right now, you're not only saying the Cavaliers can beat the Celtics, they would have home court if it's 1-2, but right now you're starting to talk about some other teams in the Eastern Conference that maybe you're letting through the door. Who would you be matched up in the second round? Now you're starting to look at saying, okay, who do we want to avoid in the first round? Who do we not want to see in the second round? Over a 7-game series, still confident in this team. Still confident in the regular season. And getting into our broadcaster observation of the night, it was more Brian Scalabrine than it was Jrue Carter, but he basically was saying, look out Pelicans on Sunday. Is a 25-point victory against the Pelicans on Sunday at TD Garden going to take the bitter taste out of your mouth right now? I don't think it is. I really don't. So watch out Pelicans on Sunday. Yeah, okay. Then you have Toronto. You can't get high on the hog if they have 2 blowout victories in the next 2 games against 2 teams that are just dreadful. Right? And I really, after that first game at TD Garden with the Raptors and Celtics earlier in the regular season, I thought, look out. Look out for Toronto. They'll be better. They haven't really turned anything around. The Pelicans? I mean, Jimmy Butler's away from the Miami Heat. That's new. That stings. And you go with the guys you have. The Pelicans have been out. Zion Williamson? Apparently, I don't even want to make mention of it because apparently I read a headline. It might have been a fake one. I should go to ESPN.com. I'm not, but I don't know that Zion Williamson's playing on Sunday. And does it really matter if you're the Pelicans? And I'm not an expert on the Pelicans by any stretch. But he's a non-factor. He really is. But right now, I mean, you win the next 2 against the Pelicans and Raptors. You've got Orlando coming up. You hit the midpoint of the NBA regular season coming up against the Magic. You've got the back-to-back coming up at home as well. Celtics are making it easy on themselves early on in the season. Right now, that's not the case. I mean, all of a sudden, the Celtics, 97 points against Sacramento. I don't know where they're ranked defensively. Don't have that tonight. Shame on me, I know. But all of a sudden, the Celtics in 2 of the last 3 games, they're not scoring. 92 against the Thunder in a loss. And again, it was the fourth quarter there. And 97. So twice now in the last 3 games, held below 100 points. Wasn't the case for the first, 33, 34 games of the season for the Celtics. Numbers of the night. Keep the comments coming. Sabonis. You know what? Before we go to break, I can do this here. I just got to scroll through my notes because I forget things on occasion. Best performances against the Celtics of the season. I'm putting Sabonis up there. I don't have them all, but let's see if we can get into a couple of them real quick. I know I'm taking time off the clock here. Not trying to do this on purpose. See if I can find it. I'm giving myself 20 more seconds. Okay, here we go. Lillard 33, Giannis 30 and 10 back in late October. Siakam 29, game winner, 6 threes. Pacers overtime win at home against the Celtics late October. LaMelo Ball, I'm not giving you, he had 36 and 6 threes. All right, he had 16 in the fourth quarter. Celtics still won that game. RJ Barrett had a triple-double, first of his career in mid-November against the Celtics, 25, 15, 10 rebounds. He had 15 assists. Donovan Mitchell, 35. Mitchell, 35, and had 30 points in the second half, including 20 in the fourth quarter. That was a big performance. John Morant, 32, 9 and 9. That's not Sabonis territory. Zach LaVine, 36. Tyrese Maxey, Christmas Day in Boston, 33 and 12 for the Celtics. No, Sabonis for me, pretty much best performance against the Celtics this season. And again, where's the pride to get a guy off the boards? Where was the pride there? One more from Sean. Then we hit a break. Sean, Tatum, my favorite player, but man, he had a bad night. White wasn't good, and now Hauser can't hit a shot. Hauser had a couple of games after the lower back issue where it was like, okay, didn't even have shot attempts. Then had a game or 2 where he was okay. And now, no, the bench, come on, where is it? You've got to have production and consistent production from the bench. Peyton Pritchard has fallen off here considerably in the last handful of games. Tatum, Sean, he's going to be part of our numbers of the night. And, yeah, that's coming up next. Locked On Celtics postcast presented by Rocket Money. Numbers of the night coming up. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot or that you were paying for twice. Well, you might have a few subscriptions that you don't realize you are still paying for. Rocket Money makes it easy to track them down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending as well, and also helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit for 2025. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million and canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when you use all the apps in the premium features section. One of the best features, Rocket Money right now, well, that is subscription tracker. You can use it to cancel services you aren't using anymore, and with that, you can save a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, you are able to automatically set aside money for your future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. You can cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, I had to bring the production crew back in here. Glad you're with us. Locked On Celtics postcast. Celtics did not get their weekend off to a great start. Celtics did not get your weekend off to a great start, losing 114-97 at home against the Sacramento Kings. You know, there are some games you credit OKC for the fourth quarter that they had a couple of games ago against the Celtics at home in Oklahoma City. From a Celtics perspective, you want to push the panic button. And as I said, what was that? Right off the top. But for Friday night in Boston, 6 straight wins now for the Sacramento Kings. I think you have to give them some credit for the way they played. I think you have to give them some credit the way they played the fourth quarter. I mean, they knocked down shots. They had backbreakers. Anytime, and the Celtics never really made a run in that fourth quarter. I mean, they scored 21 points total, 42 for the second half. But the Celtics never really made a run in that fourth quarter. They put a couple of points together. It was on the free throw line. There was no 3 or 4 straight field goals with getting stops at the other end. No. Kings just kept knocking down shots. So again, Sean checked in. Tatum, his favorite player. Tatum had a streak as we hit numbers of the night here in segment number 3. Tatum had a streak come to an end. He had 11 straight games with 20 or more points. Hey, 15 points for Tatum. He did have a double-double. It was an off night. Did not score in the fourth quarter. That, I'm looking forward to seeing the online comments, the articles, Boston Globe, a couple other places I go. John Corrales as well. Locked On newsletter. Won't be on, the Celtics game from Friday night, but, just in terms of watching that. I mean, the Celtics had their starting lineup, the starting lineup that you want. Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. They haven't been very good in terms of wins and losses with this lineup. They all start. They're all starting. But right now, you want to talk about being cohesive or the lack of cohesiveness with the Celtics and that 5? It's not there. So there's some things you sort of look at right now with the Celtics and say, time to get back on track. And you're going to hear that, well, we got to get on track. We got to focus. We got to defend. We got to do these things. Yeah, you do. But also, phone calls, I think, are going to have to be made as well for the Celtics. Again, Tatum, 11 straight games with 20 or more. Did not happen. And held teens for Tatum. Doesn't happen often. Really doesn't. But did not have a field goal attempt in that fourth quarter. Tatum, White, Holiday, already gave it to you, but the number of the night, those 3 combining for 3 shots and no points in the fourth quarter against the Sacramento Kings. Can't happen. 4 of 5 stretch of home games, 4 of 5 starting Friday night with a loss. So now, as I mentioned, Pelicans Sunday. Brian Scalabrine said it, look out Pelicans. Well, yeah. Look out for the next couple of opponents. It should be blowout victories against New Orleans and Toronto. You go to Toronto for a game against the Raptors next Wednesday. Then home. Midpoint of the season next week against the Magic at home. Celtics back-to-back home games against Orlando and Atlanta, January 17th, 18th. The Celtics have showed you what they're capable of on those back ends and really the back-to-back games, back-to-back nights. And then that's that 4-game road trip. You just came off a 3-1 road trip, and it was impressive. You take the loss at OKC. You come home. You have a horrible fourth quarter against the Sacramento Kings. And Sacramento, Drew Carter had it. No, actually it was Sean Grandy, and I think it's 2007. Outside of COVID, last time there were fans in the stands in Boston, the Kings won, I think it was 2007, in a victory. Celtics last year won by 44 at Sacramento. That was in December of 2023. Last April, Celtics won by 1 at TD Garden against the Sacramento Kings, who won 114-97 at TD Garden on Friday night. Hey, reminder, once again, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter and one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up now and sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. A thank you to our sponsors. As always, supporting us and supporting our sponsors is supporting us with Locked On. So, Rocket Money, tip of the cap to Rocket Money, and a tip of the cap as well to TurboTax. Glad you were with us on this Friday night. As always, we appreciate the contributions when you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Don't forget Locked On Celtics podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. We do appreciate you making the Locked On Celtics podcast with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics postcast your first listen every day. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics every day. Win or lose. Celtics try to get back in the win column and avoid a second straight loss for the first time this season when they host the Pelicans Sunday night in Boston.